All right, we've got to talk about something pretty important that's just come to light. A brand new security issue has been found in MongoDB, which, as you know, is one of the most popular databases out there. So we're going to break down what this threat is all about and, more importantly, what you can do to stay protected.
So let me ask you this, and it's a serious question. Could your entire database be taken down remotely by just one single malicious request? It sounds kind of dramatic, I know, but that is exactly what's at the heart of this new vulnerability. Just imagine one cleverly designed message from anywhere on the planet having the power to knock your whole application offline.
So here it is, this vulnerability leaves the door wide open for something called a denial of service attack, or DOS attack. And the whole point of a DOS attack isn't to steal your data, but to actually turn the database against itself, to overload it and shut your service down completely. So why is this such a big deal? Well, because MongoDB is everywhere. It's basically a cornerstone of the modern internet. It's the engine behind a massive, massive number of web apps and APIs, which makes it a really high-value target for anyone who wants to cause a ton of disruption.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does an attacker actually pull this off? Let's trace the attack vector. The weak spot, the Achilles heel, is all in how the server deals with compressed data that gets sent over the network. You can think of it like a tiny crack in the server's armor, but it's a crack that can be forced wide open if you apply the right kind of pressure. And here's how that chain reaction happens. First, an attacker sends a very specific, specially crafted, compressed message. The server sees this message, and without actually checking what it's about to unpack, it tries to allocate a huge amount of memory for it. And that one action is enough to completely drain the system's resources, causing everything to slow down to a crawl or just crash entirely. Right, so this is the crucial point to remember. A denial of service attack isn't about theft. The attacker isn't trying to get your user data. Their only goal is disruption. They want to make your service completely unusable for both you and your actual customers. Now that we know how the attack works, let's talk about the real-world impact. I mean, what's actually at stake when something like this happens? A successful attack really only has two outcomes. In the best-case scenario, if you can call it that, your server's performance just slows to an absolute crawl. But the worst-case scenario? Complete unavailability. A total system crash. And this is the domino effect, right? The database is the beating heart of most modern applications. If that heart stops, everything else stops with it. Your website goes dark, your mobile app freezes, all your internal services just fail. Ultimately, the risk here really boils down to exposure. An unprotected server just sitting out there exposed to the public internet with no real authentication, it's basically a sitting duck. But a server that's properly locked down behind a firewall with strong authentication required, well, that's a much, much tougher fortress to crack. All right, enough about the problem. Let's pivot and focus on the solution. Here's a straightforward 4-step defense plan you can use to lock your systems down. Okay. Number 1, and this is totally non-negotiable, update. The fix for this is already out, so you have to install the latest patched version. Second, isolate your server. Never ever expose a database directly to the internet. Use firewalls, use VPNs. Third, authenticate. Lock it down with strong access controls. And finally, number 4, be proactive. Run regular security audits on your own systems to find these weak spots before somebody else does. So fixing this one specific vulnerability is absolutely critical, but it also shines a light on a much larger issue. Let's just zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here, what we can call the long game of security. You know, the research on this puts it perfectly. It says database security is a critical part of protecting modern applications. And that's so true. It's not just another piece of the puzzle, it's the foundation of the whole thing. If your database is weak, your entire application is weak. Period. So really, the big takeaway here boils down to 3 core principles. First, always keep your software up to date. Second, follow the established security best practices. They exist for a reason. And third, stay informed. Just knowing that threats like this are out there is the very first and maybe the most important step in defending against them. So I'll leave you with this question. Think about it for a second. Whether it's finally applying that update you've been putting off, or maybe enabling multi-factor authentication, or running that system audit you know you should, what's the one security check you can do today to make your system safer?